Before we begin today's review, I wanted to issue a trigger warning. Today's film discusses some subject matters such as sexual assault and violence towards immigrants. Now, these subjects won't take up the entire review. We're mostly going to be focusing on the filmmaking aspect and everything. But, these topics are a big part of this film's themes, so it's kind of impossible to dance around it. So if you're triggered by either of those things, or you just don't feel comfortable listening to it, please feel free to click off the video and go watch something else. Your mental health and your comfort mean more to me than you watching this video. Also, if my voice sounds a bit off, I am still getting over a cold. It's kind of lingering. So if you're wondering why my voice sounds a bit iffy, that's why. But yeah, with all that out of the way, please enjoy the video. You know, I was expecting this movie to be bad. I mean, with everything I know about the man who made it and what everybody was saying about it, I was expecting this to be bad. But oh my god, this is not just one of the worst films I've seen in years. Citizen Vigilante may just be, no, I think it is. I think this is officially the worst movie I have ever seen. Let's talk about it, I guess. Oh my god. Citizen Vigilante is a action revenge film that was written, directed, and produced by Uwe Boll and released earlier this year, I believe in July. This movie takes place in Europe and tells the story of a man named Michael Sanders, played by Armie Hammer. He was an American soldier who recently inherited his father's real estate business after he passed away, and now he owns this huge company. I guess he's like a landlord or whatever. I don't think the movie explains it very well. And he basically uses his money to buy shitloads of guns to kill criminals on the streets of Europe. Now, before we even begin to talk about this movie, it's impossible to talk about this film without mentioning the man who made it. The reason why I have been wanting to talk about this movie and see it for myself. Uwe Boll. For those who do not know, Uwe Boll is a German filmmaker and is widely considered one of the worst filmmakers ever. Throughout the late 90s to the 2010s, I believe, this guy has made some of the worst films ever, yet somehow made shitloads of money off of it. He's most well known for making some of the worst video game film adaptations ever, like The House of the Dead, as well as Blood Rain. And the way Uwe Boll had been able to make a profit despite these films being so bad is extremely scummy. Basically, he exploited a German tax loophole that, to simplify it as best I can, meant that even if the film completely bombed, he would still get a fat check out of it. They did change the law, but that didn't stop him from continuing to make movies that nobody asked for and nobody wanted. He is also infamous for not being able to take criticism to save a life, as in the past, he has literally boxed critics in the ring just for not liking his movies. A real classy individual, ain't he? It's honestly what makes Uwe Boll a bit more interesting compared to some other reviled filmmakers out there, because this dude did not earn his success at all. he pretty much cheated it. You know, say whatever you want about filmmakers like Michael Bay, the guy who made all of the Transformers movies, or Raja Gosnell, the guy who made films like the Smurf movies or so forth. Like, they at least earned their success, you can argue. Michael Bay's Transformers movies did make bank. Raja Gosnell's Smurf films did make bank. Uwe Boll's films did not make bank. He literally just cheated a tax system. It's kind of sad. But yeah, due to this guy's reputation, I have always wanted to take a crack at a movie that he has made, and now I finally have. And wow. Let me tell you, going off of this movie alone, everything that everyone has said about this guy as a filmmaker is too fucking nice. Citizen Vigilante is horrible. Now, well, I noticed that when a lot of people talk about this movie online, most of them talk about the political views that the film has and its political messages and all that. We will briefly go into that towards the end of the review, but we're not going to jump into that just yet. This is a movie review channel, after all, not a political channel. So we're mostly going to be focusing on the filmmaking aspect, which I would argue is the most important part of any movie. And don't worry, because even if this film didn't have, like, interesting political views, this is still a mess of a film. I don't even know where to fucking start with this. So, like, usually I would start by saying positives about a film. Because, you know, I'm a fair person. I always like to call out good things I see in a movie. But there aren't any in this. Like, at all. At all, at all. Everything in Citizen Vigilante is a fucking mess. To start with, I can barely follow what even fucking happens in the film. For some reason, Uwe Boll decided to tell this film story out of order. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. There are a lot of movies that do that. Films like Pulp Fiction is a great example. Last year there was a movie that did that style, Zach Cregger's Weapons, which was fucking awesome. And even this year we had another really good film that did that style, Christopher Nolan's adaptation of The Odyssey. Like, so this style can be done well, but the reason why it doesn't work here is that Uwe Boll does a very poor job of anchoring down what happened before or after. Like, here's an example. There's this part of the film where they show a bunch of police officers about to raid one of the main character's hideouts, and we see the main character getting ready for a fight. But the way it's edited, they interconnect it with scenes of our main character, I think, at a bar, or, like, talking to this other guy, and it's like, so, wait, is he at the house right now getting ready for a fight, or is he at this bar? Is the bar happening before this? Is it happening after this? I don't fucking know. The film does such a very poor job of, like, giving you an idea of the time frame, so it just makes the whole film fucking incoherent to follow. By comparison, the reason why Weapons is easier to follow is because Weapons does a really good job of telling you what happened before or after. Like, when we see a character that we had seen in one of the other characters' segments, like when the cop character showed up in Justine's part of the story, when we focus on the cop, this pretty much tells us, oh, so this happened before they met at the bar. This explains why he had a Band-Aid on his finger. Like, you know, it's easy to follow. Christopher Nolan also understands this very well. Um, in Batman Begins, whenever they do flashbacks to Bruce's childhood, they will usually do it when Bruce is either asleep or knocked out, to indicate that it's pretty much a dream, basically. Again, even Nolan's most recent film, The Odyssey, does the same thing. Because, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen The Odyssey yet, Odysseus in that film has lost a lot of his memory due to Calypso feeding him the lotus flower. But as he starts to stop taking the lotus, he starts to regain some more of his memories. So the more of his memories we see, the more we learn about who Odysseus is. Well, Odysseus is trying to remember who he is. The Crow did something very similar with how Eric Draven would gain flashbacks to his memories as he touched objects that were important to him. Citizen Vigilante doesn't do any of that shit. It just kind of jumps from scene to scene, and it's incoherent as hell, and it makes it fucking hard to follow. And what really drives me up a fucking wall about this is that there's no reason to tell this story like this. Like, this should be one of the easiest stories to tell in a coherent way. This is a revenge action film. Like, films like this should be, like, the easiest to follow in a coherent way. Like, films like Death Wish, or the movie Revenge from 2017, have a very simple premise. This person was screwed over, so they're going to get revenge. Or this person was screwed over in the past, so they're going to become a vigilante and seek out their own sense of justice. Like, it's a pretty fucking easy to follow type of story. This isn't like fucking Inception or anything like that. I mean, for fuck's sakes, even the I Spit on Your Grave movies get this right, and anyone who knows me knows how much I fucking hate those movies. But for Christ's sakes, even the I Spit on Your Grave films at least understood coherent storytelling, and, told the story in a, chronological order. Because, it's a simple story. There's no reason to tell a story this simple out of order for no fucking reason. All it does is frustrate the hell out of you. This movie is so badly written, and this story is so poorly told and incoherent to follow, that I shit you not, there's a scene in this movie that I have no fucking idea why it's here. There's a random scene where the main character, Michael, he goes to, I think, a brothel and has sex with a prostitute. And then, if that wasn't bizarre and out of nowhere enough, Michael stops having sex to complain about mold being in the room. And then after addressing it, he goes back to banging the prostitute. It's like, what was the point of that? That honestly felt like something that fucking Patrick Bateman from American Psycho would do. Like, what was the point of this scene? It added nothing. The dialogue is abysmal as well. The way Michael, talks to some criminals, talks in this way that is, so fucking preachy and so fucking dumb. There's a scene with these kids who refuse to pay a bus ticket, so because Michael has somewhere to go, he decides to just pay for their ticket. And then he gives, this whole spiel to one of them about how, if you don't refuse to pay, it increases inflation. Which is, one, I don't even think that's true. That doesn't make any sense. But more importantly, two, what is the point of, bringing this shit up? What is the point of this at all? It's... Oh my god. Whenever, this main character goes into his speech, it sounds like the preachiest bullshit ever. And it's dumb. Now let's talk about the action scenes. They're horrible. Honestly, it's like some of the worst fucking action scenes I think I've ever seen in a movie. For starters, there's barely any action in this movie. I mean, I can only count like a couple. There's one scene where our main character shoots a bunch of guys in the dark, and it's dumb because it's in the fucking dark and you can't see a goddamn thing outside of some shitty muzzle flash effects. And and then there's another action scene where our main character shoots at a bunch of cops, which we'll get back to later. And that scene's awful. Not only because the effects look awful, but also because the slow-mo is stupid and there's no cool stunts, so the slow-mo just looks pointless. And for some reason, that the scene is played to what sounds like smooth electric jazz or whatever the fuck this music is. All I know is that it doesn't fit at all. It honestly reminded me of films like John Wick or Blade. In particular, like the nightclub scene from John Wick and the opening action scene from Blade, where both those movies used like techno or some kind of dubstep sounding soundtrack, and how that fits so much better because it was fast, it was quick, it matched the action fucking perfectly so well. By comparison, the music in Citizen Vigilante doesn't match any action scene whatsoever. Most of the rest of the action scenes is really just our main character shooting at people standing still or sitting down, but shot in slow-mo. Like, is this meant to be an action scene? Like, the people he's shooting at aren't, like, firing back at all. They're just kind of there. Is this supposed to be an action scene? Like, that's the thing. They're so badly done in stage, I can't even tell if they're meant to be fucking action scenes. The movie is surprisingly light on action. It's mostly just dialogue. And don't get the wrong idea. There are films out there where that can absolutely work. I mean, look at V for Vendetta, for example. V for Vendetta literally has only 3 action scenes in it. However, every action scene in V for Vendetta is fucking phenomenal and kicks Citizen Vigilante in the balls, despite it being almost 20 years older. And 2, V for Vendetta was able to get away with it because it had good characters, good themes and storytelling, good drama. Like, everything surrounding the world of V for Vendetta was so fascinating and interesting that you didn't give a shit that there was only 3 action scenes in the movie. Citizen Vigilante has none of that. That reminds me too, the acting in this film is awful. Armie Hammer, who plays our main character, I will freely admit, I've never seen this guy in another movie. In fact, I didn't even remember who this guy was until I looked him up. And remember that big thing that got him canceled online and ruined his career, but we're not going to get into that. But like, so maybe it's probably the direction or writing, but his acting in this is terrible. He says everything in this deep monotone voice that sounds like he's trying to do a piss poor impression of Anton from No Country for Old Men. Like, his performance just comes around as very wooden and monotone, which, granted, that can sometimes work for characters like this. Thomas Jane's interpretation of the Punisher spoke in a monotone voice as well, but in The Punisher it worked because it highlighted Frank's talent as a military strategist, always talking like he's one step ahead, always talking like he knows what he's doing. Like, that monotone way of speaking that Thomas Jane did worked. And also, when Thomas Jane had to get angry or act like he was in pain, he actually fucking acted. Whereas Armie Hammer's performance in this film is just that wooden performance and that monotone voice the entire time, like he's fucking bored. Everybody else's acting is pretty bad in this too. There's a scene, again, going back to the scene on the bus, Michael, our main character, literally pulls a gun on one of the kids who didn't pay the bus ticket, and this kid gives him an expression that's like, "Dude, you really have to do this today, man? Like, really? You have a gun pointed at you! Emote, damn it!" Oh, but I didn't even mention, the best part. On top of all of this, our main character is despicably unlikable. And I think this really just highlights how little Uwe Boll understands what the fuck he's doing. Now, characters like Michael Sanders, people who take the law into their own hands and gun down criminals, this is an idea that has been done again and again. I mean, whenever people think of characters like this, they probably think of Charles Bronson's character from the Death Wish movies. Or, one of my personal favorites, The Punisher. My personal favorite interpretations being Thomas Jane's and Jonathan Berthel's. And here's the thing. The reason why characters like that, are so likable, is for two reasons. One, it's just satisfying to see an absolute badass take out some of the worst human beings ever. When someone is an absolutely awful person, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing that awful person face bloody retribution. The other reason, and this is important, the best kinds of these characters always follow a moral code of sorts. Yes, they will butcher and slaughter criminals, but they will never hurt an innocent person. This is actually the reason why I think The Punisher has a lot of fans. There are many times, whether it be in the comics or in the MCU, where The Punisher will not hurt an innocent person. He won't kill cops that are in his way. He won't even kill any superheroes, at least in the mainline continuity, that are trying to stop him. Like, there have been many times where the Punisher possibly could have killed Daredevil, but he didn't. There are probably some times where the Punisher could have maybe even killed Spider-Man, but he didn't. And the reason why is because, well, yes, Frank isn't exactly the best kind of human being. He'll never cross that line. He will never hurt an innocent person, regardless of who they are. Well, he won't kill an innocent person, regardless of who they are. You know what I mean? Michael Sanders in this film, however, is not like that at all. This guy will kill, this guy slaughters police officers just doing their job. He kills an entire family just because their son allegedly sexually assaulted a girl. He kills this random civilian on the road just to prove a point, really. And he kidnaps a judge and kills him, framing it like a suicide. This dude's an asshole. Why am I supposed to be rooting for this guy? Like, he is literally killing innocent people. I mean, and even if you want to make the argument that the corrupt judge or that kid's family deserves some kind of punishment, did they deserve to get murdered mercilessly? I mean, I mean, maybe let their actions be known everywhere, and defame them or whatever. But like, I don't think like killing them. Like, no, I think that's like a little bit too far. This would be like if the Punisher. Oh, this would be like if the Punisher decided to kill Detective Soap or any other cop that got in his way. Like, no. It just doesn't work here. It of course doesn't help that the main character is also just a dick to everybody in the movie. I don't think he treats anyone in the film decently. Actually, no. There is a scene where these two girls at his bar were about to be drugged and taken advantage of by two assholes. And when he like swapped their drinks the dudes took the drugs instead of the ladies, he was like, these men were about to drug you and have their way with you. I recommend leaving. I think that's like the only time where he's like not an asshole. Every other time, he's just an absolute dick for no reason. Like, again, why am I supposed to be rooting for this guy? He's an asshole. He's a fucking bully. Then, oh boy, I was dreading this. Then there's the politics of the film. Let's talk about it. So, okay. This film has garnered a lot of controversy, mostly because a majority of the criminals that our main character goes after in this film are migrants. And it's actually the reason why the film has gotten praise, mostly from the right side of the political side. And look, I am not going to act like I am the most informed on this whole thing. I'm not even gonna like touch upon my opinions on it that much, other than I personally feel that it's wrong. I personally feel it's not okay to villainize an entire group of people just because of a few rotten apples. I feel that's not right. Me personally. But even if I did agree with what this movie is trying to say, that still doesn't change the fact that this is an awful movie. Mostly because, the movie's theme is not nuanced. It's not subtle at all. There's no ounce of subtlety to it, or no nuance whatsoever. So it honestly feels more like it's preaching or like a propaganda film than a movie that's actually trying to say something while also telling an entertaining story. Like, when you make a movie where you have a message in it, you can say whatever you want, but put it in an entertaining movie, and at least give it some subtlety and nuance. That's what makes a film legendary. Films like John Carpenter's They Live, or Sinners, are great examples of films that have a message to them, but are also really good films on top of that. And that's important because if your movie is garbage, then the message you're trying to send falls on deaf ears mostly. It of course doesn't help that, everyone in the movie, besides the cops, treats our main character like a fucking god. I'm not kidding. This movie, shows a lot of shorts on, this social media feed, I guess we could call it off-brand TikTok, about people mentioning how awesome our main character is, how awesome it is that there's a guy on the streets killing criminals, and it's we don't see the other side of the argument at all. It's just we just see the one side that thinks he's awesome and a badass. But, we don't see other people's opinions on it at all. Like, again, it doesn't feel subtle. There's no subtlety, no nuance, no anything in this. It's actually why I'm absolutely baffled that people are praising and defending this film just for its message. I just, really? I don't know, it's like, this would kind of be like if a lot of people came out and defended that War of the Worlds movie that came out last year, the one starring Ice Cube. This would be like if a bunch of people started defending that film just because of its political themes. Or if a bunch of people started defending Black Christmas 2019 just for its political themes. It's really embarrassing to me. And look, don't get me wrong. If you agree with what this movie's trying to say, that is totally fine. I'm not trying to step on your opinion. I'm just asking, please get some higher standards. If you want to watch a movie that supports your beliefs, that's fine. But why watch garbage like this when there's much better options? I just don't get it. Like, I'm not a religious person at all, but let's just use this as an example. If I'm a religious person and I would like to watch a religious film, I would probably look for a good religious film, something like The Ten Commandments or The Prince of Egypt. Because, those are really good films while also supporting something I believe in. I would not support stuff like God's Not Dead, because even if I agree with what that movie is saying, it still is a garbage film. I don't know, dude. I just personally don't. I don't understand how anyone can enjoy this. Everything in this movie is awful. And I mean everything. The story is terrible. It's told so incoherently, I can barely follow what the fuck happens half the time. The acting is awful. It's wooden, and some people barely emote to begin with. The action is awful. It's horribly shot. It's horribly directed. The effects are terrible. They can't even get the music during the scenes right. Our main character is awful. He's an unlikable prick that I don't know why the film wants me to like him. There is nothing redeemable about this movie at all. This movie was hell to get through, if I'm being honest. This is legit the record holder, I think, for the worst movie I've ever seen. I've seen some really awful movies, but, even in the worst shit I've seen, I was able to find some positives. The remake of The Haunting was awful, but that at least had a good cast, and at least Lily Taylor gave a good performance. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was one of the most embarrassing films I have ever seen, at least one that had been released in theaters. But I could at least follow what was going on in that film. At least the characters' motivations made some kind of sense. At least there was a couple cool shots. At least the music was somewhat decent. Hell, I never thought I would say this, but even I Spit on Your Grave 2010 is better than this. I never thought I would say that, but it's true. That movie is awful on so many levels. Every time I think back on it, I just feel nothing but rage. But at least that film was competently made. At least the director knew how to get decent performances out of his actors. At least it was competently shot. At least it's an awful movie, but it is at least a competently made awful movie. Citizen Vigilante has none of those redeeming qualities. Everything in this is awful. Even if you agree with what this film is trying to say, how can you defend how atrociously made it is? Seriously. This was legit one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And what's so baffling is that I can't even get that fucking angry at it. I'm just more baffled by its existence. I'm baffled at how badly you can fuck up a movie like this. I'm baffled at how terrible this is. Everything about this movie's existence makes no fucking sense to me. I don't know why this was made. I don't know how it got made. I don't know why this exists. Citizen Vigilante is awful. It is awful. Oh my god. Citizen Vigilante, absolutely, without question, is getting an F. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. All the movies I mentioned, the remake of The Haunting, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, even I Spit on Your Grave 2010, I would much rather go watch those again. And I feel so sad that I said that. Do not watch this movie. Do not give it money. It does not deserve it. If you want to watch an action revenge film, go watch one of the Punisher films. Even Warzone and the Dolph Lundgren film are better than this shit. Or go watch Death Wish. Any of the Death Wish movies is better than this. You know what I mean? Like, or if you want to watch a movie that supports your beliefs, then there are much better movies that you can find. Hell, I did a Google search. I did a Google search for films that have a right lean to them, and I found films like American Sniper, The Dark Knight, Red Dawn, like the original Red Dawn. Those are significantly much better films. Like, if you want to support a movie that sides with your beliefs, support a good movie that sides with your beliefs. Like, don't defend this shit just because it says something you agree with. Have some more self-respect. I mean that genuinely, not as an insult. Like, support something that is better. Like, yeah, this was awful. Just awful. So, Citizen Vigilante, have you guys seen it? What do you think of it? Let me know down in the comments below if you guys still like me after this. I feel like some of my comments are gonna really piss some people off. But yeah, thank you for getting me to over 50 subs. I love and appreciate all you guys. Thank you all so much. And next time I think I want to watch something that's so much better. Next week we're reviewing Silver Bullets. See you guys next time.